Hey guys, it's Preston. I have a different kind of video for you today. Earlier this month, I went out to Raleigh, North Carolina to visit the accomplished author, historian, and my good friend Steve DeGaetano. And we get to visit a unique little steam engine where Steve is currently the fireman and the engineer at the New Hope Valley Railroad, just a small drive outside of Raleigh in a little town called Bonsall. So come along as we leave the unusually rainy Burbank and come take a tour of this unique engine as Steve DeGaetano explains each control in the cab and how this engine operates. So that's like your manifold comes through the injectors.
Exactly.
Okay.
Off the branch there, this is the generator.
Okay.
So
Steam-driven generator.
Yep, steam-driven generator. Don't have to worry about that with Disney.
Mm-hmm.
That big one there is the injector for this side.
That side, yeah.
And then the one behind it is the one that feeds the manifold for the fireman, where he has all his controls. So their steam operator. It'll get sucked in through the tubes because the draft is so intense.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll get pulled right through it and it'll scour the tubes clean. So you don't have to do that on a coal burning locomotive because coal burners have cinders naturally that go through and clean that up. This is our cab roof hatch. I think it's pretty ineffective. It doesn't really do much. And one of the engineers finally said, hey, let's figure out how to pull the whole train both directions with the steam locomotive. It can be done, and we did it.
Where do you get your cars from?
All those yellow passenger cars, we can go look at them, are ex-military flat cars.
Oh, okay.
And the volunteers just built
like donated?
sides. Yeah, just
Man, look at this lubrication.
yeah, that's probably too much. But for the off season, it's probably a good idea. This is our blowdown valve. Now Disney's is pneumatic. This is manual. So when you open that up, that's just on
You have to come out here every time to do it?
Uh-huh. This is the saddle tank crossover pipe. So this just comes down, goes across, and goes back up to this other side of the saddle tank. So
Oh, okay.
Stuff you don't necessarily need to worry about.
And that's just for equalization? And
Yeah,
although
yeah.
this engine doesn't look like a Disney engine, she's actually quite similar.
This is the pipe
Many of the
going-
parts that
this is
Steve is pointing out can also be found on the Disney engines.
That's our check valve right there.
Mm-hmm.
It comes up here and goes right into the boiler there.
This engine also uses a Stevenson valve gear just like the
Mhm.
Disney
Link.
engines. So the
Yep,
reach
that's the
rod,
rod to the
the
reverse
eccentrics, the
Mhm.
rocker,
This is
the
lower
valve,
gear.
Spring loaded.
all of those
the
parts
spring
are just like what you
counterbalance.
find on the
Mhm.
Disney engines,
Then
just bigger.
That lifts the block up, and the block is down here, inside this lifting link, this link.
Yeah.
So, and I'll move all that. These are the two
Eccentrics.
two eccentric rods, and you can see how they're offset with each other.
Yeah.
Here.
We're now looking into the space between the frames to see the eccentrics and the axle box.
Those are the oil cups.
And if
over
you
there.
have the
Ah,
CK
uh-huh.
Holiday
Just fill
plan
it up
book,
with oil. Just fill it up.
this should all be very familiar to you.
Just once a day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Once a day usually works. And you can see how the driving box slides up and down on that plate.
Mm-hmm. You can see the marks where they moved, huh?
Yeah, that's where the spring moves. That's the driving boxes, and we can crawl in here if you want. That's the burner there with the steam line and the fuel line.
Uh-huh. The steam line's the smaller one?
The steam line is the smaller one, yeah,
Okay.
on the bottom, and the oil on top. And it's just a gravity feed.
Mm-hmm.
That's like Disney. There's the rodding for the brakes.
And that one is your blow down pipe.
That's the blowdown coming out. That's just a bracket that holds the boiler up.
Uh-huh.
We've got it into that tube just to reroute it because we drained the boiler for the season.
Right.
These are the oil cups that we use. When we're ready
On
to
the
go,
crosshead.
our practice is nipples up. That turns them on.
Well, good
For
to
real.
know.
Nips up. This is like the E.P. Ripley's crosshead guide. This is a layered crosshead guide. These are pieces of brass, and they're just held in there. They wear against the steel. Obviously, these wear more than the steel rod does. Crosshead guide.
By design.
By design, they're replaceable. There's a hole in there. When you take the oil can, you feel around in there. A lot of the lubrication points are like this, a hole. There's the same kind of thing is in there, so I have to put my can in there and feel around on the surface of the rod until I feel the hole. And that's where I start pouring my oil in. And I put oil in until it drips out.
Okay.
That's the only way I know that I got the oil.
It's filled up. Yeah.
The brakes have the same kind of thing, the brake levers. That hole right there is where you put oil. Just a drop or two of oil goes in there.
Oh, okay.
And these are what the cylinder cocks look like.
Where's this cup goes to?
That just drips onto the rod
Oh,
itself.
it just drips?
Just probably not necessary. This is the packing gland. When you take this off, and then rear.
In addition to learning about the controls and how the engine operate, I also got to have some hands-on experience operating all the valves and levers and record very authentic sound for the simulator.
Nice.
Yeah,
Everything is
good metallic sound.
Everything is much heavier than it looks. That you don't really get that sense from pictures. It's a lot more work than it looks.
This is the governor that Disney used to use.
Spring loaded.
Just a spring loaded, and it equalizes off of.
Then we continue on with a tour of the compressed air system, and just as before, this engine uses a similar type of system that is found on the Disney engines, so consequently you will find this type of system in the simulator as well.
So, and this is our air compressor here.
How accurate is it?
It can be pretty accurate, but it's just a spring, and it does wear out, and heat affects it or whatever. So we undo this cap, and there's a nut in there, and you can adjust it up or down or whatever.
Right.
And that's just a round cover. So this is I think a 9-inch compressor. I think Disney uses 8.5. So the Disney ones don't have the fin.
Is that a heat sink?
Yep. Exactly. It radiates the heat because when you're compressing that air down, it heats up. That's why we have a coil line, and I'm not sure. I can't tell in Disney. Our coil. This is a cooling coil, so air that comes out of that compressor is really hot through here. Then you feel this, it's hot. You feel this, it's a little warmer, and you feel up here, it's cool. So by the time it goes into the air tank, it's cool. So I don't know if Disney.
So
I would think
this is a coil actually cools it down.
Yeah, it's a radiator. So I wonder if Disney does this, but flat under the running board.
That's interesting.
And finally, we get to have a very close look at how the Johnson bar moves the rocker, the link, and the lifting shaft mechanisms, and how it all affects the valve movement and the cutoff point.
We should
Cool.
think about it. Really.
Yep.
We'll take you over and look at the other working
And as a bonus, we get to visit one of the caboose, complete with an authentic stove.
Wow, that's cozy.
It can be. This is
Oh wow.
You can tell an authentic caboose stove
Mm-hmm.
by one telling feature. Has this ring.
Right.
And this one actually works. So we use it and turn it cold.
Oh wow.
This will get orange red.
Well, that's it guys. I hope you enjoyed this quick tour. I got a lot of great information, learned a lot, record a lot of sight and sound that I'll be able to use in the simulator. Thanks again to Steve for the opportunity. And if you're ever in the area of Raleigh or Bonso, be sure to check out the New Hope Valley Railroad. See you guys next time.